I'm sympathy. And I'm beautiful and I'm amazing.
From 5, they have been trimmed down to 4 in what might be the most heartbreaking and the most difficult episode of Drag Race Philippines ever. The challenge this week was a live performance challenge that tested the queens when it came to performance, but also storytelling through singing. And of course, as per usual, we will be explaining the Filipino references, the Filipino elements that were in this episode for everyone who's watching globally. My name is Momo, and this is Dragsplaining Philippines. Last week was the Lalaparuza, and I must say all 6 queens who competed were really fabulous, but we did have to say goodbye to the lovely Maxi-Challenge. But honestly, she proved herself to be a fierce queen this season, so all the love to her. Although when the queens did go back to the workroom, they did talk about what they felt like was a shady statement from Maxi-Challenge. Honestly, for me, I thought she misspoke, or maybe she meant something else and words just didn't come out right. But the queens clearly did not like that, especially Maxi.
Hindi ka na mag-isa, be. Marami tayo, be.
Another conversation that the queens had when they returned to the workroom was going through and dissecting last week's twist. If y'all can remember, the 3 winning queens for the Lalaparuza had to pick which of the remaining losing queens they had to save, and all 3 queens went to save Kiana. Personally, I actually was gooped and gagged that Angel and Maxi picked Kiana because in my mind, they had a longer relationship with Zimbading outside of Drag Race. But all 5 queens hashing it out made it make sense to me. I particularly loved what Maxi said about Kiana's representation in the show.
Para ano na siya, compliment na siya. Ay, provincial queens ka, malakas to.
Because yes, provincial queens usually get a bad rap. People think that because you don't have the resources that queens in the city have, you can't really give good drag. But Kiana has proven that she is fierce, fabulous, and that where you come from really doesn't matter. Maxi said that she wants to turn the term provincial queen into a compliment, which I think was a lovely thing. Zimba also asked them why they did not pick her, but Angel did do a really good job of explaining that they weren't really saying that she was reliant on Brigding. And Maxi actually drove the point home by saying that Zimba just had more opportunities, not because she's relying on the house of Ding, but because she already has connections, she lives in the city, she just has more opportunities. Cut to a new day in the workroom, and the queens walk into a setup of an altar of all the thingamajigs from the eliminated queens, which was a dead giveaway that the eliminated queens are going to return. And so they did. Oh my gosh, Duty Pota looked so good. I guess she finally got her hands on her missing luggage. To be fair, all of them looked really good. The mug was correct, the outfits were correct, the wigs were correct. Everything was working. And I do think it was a choice by production to have the returning queens dress up like that and have all the queens steal the competition to be out of drag. Now, the reason they're back is because they are the drag council, which means they will be asking questions to the remaining queens so that they can assess who actually deserves to be in the finale, which led Mama Pao to ask the remaining queens,
are you feeling the pressure right now?
What a funny moment, because that is a reference to a very viral moment back in 2008 when a beauty pageant contestant had a little bit of fun answering her question during a major pageant.
Do you feel any pressure right now?
No, I don't feel any pressure right now.
We don't feel any pressure right now.
First in the hot seat was Kiana, and I would say overall they were pretty tame about her. Versex did ask her some pretty insightful questions, and I do think Kiana was able to defend herself really well, and they seemed to like her. She did mention 2 houses, House of La Fea and House of Lords, I think. I think maybe those are CDO houses, so I'm not familiar. If you guys have any details about it, let us know in the comments. Next up was Angel, and Angel was having a really good time. I feel like that was supposed to be a scary moment, but Angel was like open arms. She was like, lay it on me, baby.
Go fight tayo.
She was having fun, but she did make good points about why she deserves to be in the top 5 and even the top 4, even if she almost went home during like the second week. And we are so glad to see that she's still in the competition. Then we have Zimbading and the hot seat. And obviously, we saw this coming. The queens were gonna ask her about her ties to season 1's Brigading. I mean, throughout the season, that was kind of her storyline. You're the daughter of Brigading. Are you going to be able to get up to her level? Like even reading her during the reading challenge, they kept bringing her up. And I feel like that was pressure on Zimba to prove that no, I can do this on my own. She did acknowledge that she is very well supported in that house, but she said that she is really paving her own way. And I do agree with her. Throughout this entire season, she has really proven herself to be a great performer, regardless of her ties to any drag houses. Also, for a couple of episodes, I was saying that the tiff between Zimba and Brigading just was not fully put to rest. And this was a perfect opportunity to do that, and the two queens did. But as one conflict fades, another one rises. It was Maxi's turn out in the hot seat, and she let them have it. So it's no secret in the competition that J Quinn and Angel did have their moments throughout the entire thing. And I feel like relatively Maxi has kept quiet about it. She never really got involved. But in this conversation, her protective big sibling came out.
Ano ang mga sinasabi mo sa kapatid ko?
Yan.
Also, I think she was very annoyed with what Mick Chanel said during her elimination. And so I feel like all of that was just bubbling under. And that was a perfect moment for her to really talk to these eliminated queens about her feelings. Highlight of Maxi's entire segment though, where she said, stay humble because time will humble you. We now move on to Tita Baby. Just when the conversation started, I knew for a fact that they were gonna pick Tita Baby to move on to the final 4, just because I felt like a lot of the questions really were just asking Tita Baby what she can bring to the competition, but also what it can do for her as a drag queen of age. It was really about her wins and her struggles, and they were highlighted in very, very deep ways. And it's so nice to see that the eliminated queens were instruments for Tita Baby to actually have that moment. Now, Tita Baby got really, really emotional. She was crying, and she said that it was kind of like a retreat, like an open forum. And in the Philippines, mostly during high school, we would have these moments at the end of the year where the entire class would take a trip to have fun during the day, but at night hash things out with the entire class, be appreciative or a friend, or maybe talk about the drama that had happened so that we all can bury the hatchet. And we call the entire trip a retreat. And those things can get really, really emotional. Imagine teenagers. That was a really fun mini version of a reunion. I wish Drag Race Philippines actually did have a reunion episode. Are we gonna get one? We don't know. In the end, the Drag Council picked Tita Baby to move on to the final 4, although they didn't do it for real. It was just for the mini challenge. But they did leave Angel with no podium finish. But leave it to Angel to put a twist on her loss. I guess she will be co-hosting Mama Pao next season.
Sashay away again.
Now let's move on to the main challenge, which was basically kind of low-key announced by RuPaul herself.
Slay, Accla, slay.
When RuPaul said Accla, I was like, am I hearing things? Did I just hear RuPaul say Accla? That was amazing, and in Kiana's words,
The language is languaging.
I think this calls for Vakla vocabulary. So akla is just a beautified evolution of the word bakla, which is the Tagalog term for queer. Now, I think back in the past, this really held a lot of negative connotations, but of course, the gay community in the Philippines took it back, reclaimed it, and turned it into something beautiful. And so this word has evolved into so many permutations. Akla, bakler, vakla, akling, and many, many more. And the beauty of this word is that it has many other versions, but they are all terms of endearments for your sisters in the community. And honestly, today it has evolved into being used for everyone. Like, I call my straight friends akla all the time. Okay, mga akla, that's it for our vakla vocabulary this week. The challenge for the queens this week was to write their verses and then perform that in a live performance. And the song is called Slay Accla. If I had to choose, I feel like Slay Accla is a much better song than Dapat Pakak, although both of them are a bop, okay, don't get me wrong. But Slay Accla is giving me everything that I need. At first, I thought this was just going to be a repeat of the girl group challenge, but I think for this one, I feel like it really gave the queens the opportunity not just to talk about themselves, but really tell us where they're going with the crown if ever they win. And also, I feel like this is a harder dancing challenge. I think it is a nice touch that there wasn't this competition within a competition because there were no groups. There were just all 5 having to each spit their verses. I think that's why we liked it, is because it was really giving All Stars to Read You, Wrote You. Everyone had their moment. In this episode, the extra special guest judge is actress Janela Salvador. Janela is a very popular fixture on Philippine television, and her most recent, and I would say most iconic role, is being the villain in the fantasy series Darna as the cunning Valentina. Now, Darna is a half a century old comic book character in the Philippines, and the character has spawned so many TV shows, movies, and comic books. And over the years, the iconic Darna and her counterpart Valentina have been played by many acclaimed actresses here in the Philippines. Now, Janela has actually been in the industry for quite a while, but people have been saying that this Valentina character is a turning point for her career because she's being known to play the more demure, the more mindful roles in her past. So her choosing to play a villain and one of the most iconic in Philippine history is a very bold choice for her, and I would say it paid off. I'm sure the queens were just gagging seeing her on the panel. Maxi is always going to deliver, especially when it comes to dancing, so that was a really beautiful performance. I do think that she was a little calm. I feel a lot more energy from Maxi before. This one in Tagalog, I felt like she was being campante, which I guess is complacent, right? I honestly kind of feared for Maxi. I was like, oh, is she gonna be in the bottom for this one? But really, that performance was still really, really amazing, and I loved her verse. Because yes, she put herself on a pedestal, but she also did say that it's important that through success, you stay kind and humble, which is a really, really important reminder, not just to people in the competition, but every single one of us. For her runway, I did agree with the judges. It seemed a little understated. The butterflies were beautiful. Maybe could have used bigger butterflies, but that color looks gorgeous on her. Okay, when Zimba started performing, I was really excited because there was a lot of energy there. But I do feel like, not that she was missing some beats, but I felt like there was this torsion pull that I felt there was a tension. There was this, I guess it was, she was nervous, I guess. Because even the lip syncing was not all there. But she did pull out some tricks that really, really made my eyes pop out of my skull. But I do understand when the judges were like, oh, maybe shouldn't have done that spin. It was a risk and it kind of did not pay off. But nothing can take away the fact that Zimba is a powerhouse performer. Her verse was good. She was talking about an underdog. She was talking about like constantly being underestimated. And she wanted to experience this come from behind victory. And it was a really nicely put rap part in the song. I really, really enjoyed that. And her runway was actually really cute. I did not mind the lion in the back. I think maybe the issue was the lion in the back didn't look well made. It really just looked like a plush stuck to the back of her dress. But overall, I did not feel like it was like maybe cultural appropriation. But Jiggly did make a point of like, there are Filipinos who have that hair texture who wear braids. Moving on to Angel, this was fabulous. I cannot get over how sexy and how bold and beautiful Angel was in this performance. Not a move was out of place. Her facial expressions were great. Her lip syncing was good. And that verse was also really, really amazingly written. She talked about redefining beauty standards as a trans woman, which is such a great way to reintroduce herself at this point in the competition, especially knowing that she almost went home. And that runway, oh my gosh, like, what gagged me was Angel is known to be the sexy, feisty, bold girl. And for her to come out in this very extravagant ball gown inspired by like this religious image is amazing to me. This girl thinks, and I really, really appreciate it. Yeah, she's not a one-note woman, that's for sure. Kiana! Now she was performing the House Down Boots. Not surprising, she's a great performer. And in Untucked, Tita Baby made a great point. Like, all of them are really different, but if there was a Venn diagram, Kiana's and Maxi's circle would really overlap. So it's not shocking to see her perform at this level. She was the only queen who had full English, I think, for her verse, which is also really fierce because that made her kind of have to lip sync a lot faster. But she, I think, did not miss a beat. Her runway was also cool. I love the upside down dress because I've seen that in a fashion show a couple of years ago, I think. Love that she made it pink. And I love what came out of it. This cool black and silver number, which I felt like was really flattering on her, but also a great representation of the drag that she wanted to bring. Like if you look back at like all her packages this entire season and then to this, wow, how fierce. She is really making the provincial queens proud. Khaled Karen even emphasized that if you are a provincial queen, you have to be just as good or way better than Kiana to really be noticed on the show. That is true because provincial drag is on another level, and I know so many queens from the province are going to bring it in this future seasons. Now let's go to Tita Baby, and I'm gonna be honest, I was super nervous for her when I found out that this was going to be the challenge because we know that Tita Baby is not the strongest dancer. I did know though that lip syncing will be her alas, her ace in this challenge, and it kind of was. I was very, very entertained because as much as she was not a dancer, she was really, really giving it. And I did say when I was watching it, Tita Baby I think was the best at branding this entire season, because every time she performs, every time she does a challenge, even in her confessionals, that Tita brand is always there. Her verse was also so inspiring because it was all about hardships to success. And I think she had the most emotional baby picture moment because I love when she said, "Be patient because you're a late bloomer." And I think that especially in the world that we live in right now, I think a lot of people in our generation or Gen Zs are being rushed to reach success, and we are all on different timelines and we just gotta be patient and power through. So we are at that point where Mama Pao is gonna show them baby pictures and they give a message to that baby version of themselves, and all the pictures are really, really cute. I love that we got to know in Untucked that the pictures that they used for Maxi and Angel were pictures of them together. As much as I feel like some people think that this segment is always kind of too dragged on, and last season a lot of people were nervous about the trans women in the finale who were gonna get shown their pre-transition photos. I do think that it is a great opportunity, not just for the queens to share their stories, but for us viewers to visualize where these queens come from. Because I feel like a lot of people who are watching will be able to connect to that and maybe reflect on their own stories. Now, after all of this, my fearless prediction was that Zimbading and Maxi were gonna be the bottom two based on the comments. Specifically Zimbas, they really, really went in on her. So I was pretty sure she was gonna be in the bottom. The other one, I was really nervous. I was like, is this gonna be Maxi or is this gonna be Tita Baby? But I thought based on what the panel said, I really thought it was going to be Maxi in the bottom two. But the actual bottom two was Zimbading and Tita Baby. And when we found out what the song was, which was Isa Pang Araw, I was a little moving towards Tita Baby for a little bit. By the way, this is a song from Sarah Geronimo. It's a romantic ballad, and in here, Sarah is asking for one more day to be with the person she loves. And that's why it's such a perfect song, because like the queens who were lip syncing for their life were basically asking for one more day. Isa Pang Araw. It was a ballad, it was really heartfelt, and we've seen Tita Baby be able to actually emote through her mouth and through her movements without having to rely on any of the shebangs. But having said that, I thought Zimbading put up a really good fight. She was really emoting as well too. She was using her clothes, her outfit as the props. I do feel like there were a lot of moments that I felt like she was overdoing it because pasabog. It's a lip syncing competition. You do want to gag the judges, but it just was not the song for that. The song really asks for commitment to the story. And I felt like not only did Tita Baby represent that in her lip sync, she also was representing that in this entire episode. In the end, Tita Baby was declared the winner of that lip sync, and that she gets to Shantae and become part of the final four. And there she will be joining Maxi, Kiana, and the winner of the challenge, which I say really deserved it, Angel. Angel pulled it out in the performance. Angel pulled it out in the verse. Angel had the best runway of the night. Definitely deserved the Rue badge. But my heart really breaks for Zimbading. That was a really emotional elimination because she was really, really close and she's such an amazing queen. I mean, I can't wait to see what she's gonna pull after this competition because she definitely is one to watch. But I will say throughout watching the entire season, 9 episodes in, I do think it would have been unfair to eliminate Tita Baby, especially because she was such on an upward trajectory. She didn't ever win a Rue badge, but even though Zimba won one badge, I felt like track record-wise, Tita Baby just had a better record. But this being such a complicated, tough decision for the judges, I'm sure, just exemplifies how tough this season is because this cast is amazing. If they sent Kiana home, I'd be upset. If they sent Tita Baby home, I'd be upset. If they sent Angel home, Maxi home, I'd be upset. They sent Zimba home, I'm still upset. We are at that point. So I can't wait to see what happens in the finale. This final 4 is super exciting because they're all very different. This is going to be a gaggy Drag Race Philippines finale and I cannot wait. Anyway, thank you so much for being with us in this edition of Dragsplaining Philippines. We are nearing the end and we cannot believe how much love and support we have been getting from all of you. Even the Drag Race Philippines queens have been leaving comments. It's crazy. They're very lovely. All of you are very nice. We are so thankful and we're so proud to be able to live up to our promise of bringing Filipino pop culture to the world, and there's more of that. So if you don't want to miss anything, subscribe to Sisne POP, and we will be back next week to Dragsplain the Drag Race Philippines Season 3 Grand Finale. With that, I am Momo, and I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye.